teenagers. You think you're any deeper than any other adult in the world?
Deeper than you, bitch. We're about that shit.
And how's that?
Watch us. You ready, Nicole?
Oh my god. Holy fucking shit. I thought this would be a heart-wrenching, but it's lukewarm. I mean, again, if it doesn't hit you in one way or another, maybe you're not ready for it. To me, it hit me. But if it would involve an animal, I'd be on the floor brawling like an hour. Okay, that's one thing to say. I'm not saying that it's bad to feel more pain when an animal dies than a human, because there are people like that. However, the whole pain of it is not because of death. It's not about the death. It's what happens before you die, or what happens before the character dies. The last thoughts, those last moments, how others perceive them, that's what's gonna hit you in the end of the day. Because that same thing is not gonna happen with an animal. When you cry about an animal's death, you cry about the fact that they died, okay? And that's not bad. Obviously, it's sad, especially if they were your pet, or they were like some kind of cute character or something like that. Okay, but in the end of the day, their actions are not gonna be as impactful as a human's. But at the end, when a human dies, you're gonna realize that there's so much more into it. And just because at the moment you don't cry doesn't mean it's not gonna be heavy. It's gonna be heavy a bit later, or maybe years later, when you realize that those people will not gonna come back. They're gone forever. I'm telling you this because I went through it. I experienced death in a way that I never thought I would. Somebody who was not even that close to me died, and at that moment I felt terribly sad. And I kid you not, maybe a year passed and I realized that that person is never going to come back. I will never be able to see them again. And they were, I kid you not, they were my actual classmates. We were the same age. They're gone. That feeling is something absolutely crushing when you think about it. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen at the 10-year anniversary when we're gonna see each other again at the reunion? And all of us are gonna be the 19 of us who finished the class at that year, and we're just gonna realize that the 20 is never gonna be there because he just couldn't make it. And that's what's gonna crush you at that moment, because he's not gonna be there to tell you what he did in the past 10 years. How he's been, what they did with their life, how they've been handling life while you were doing your own stuff. They're not gonna be there to laugh at your jokes. You're not gonna be able to laugh at their jokes. And it's heavy. Even if it's gonna be heavy for a moment, that moment is gonna be very crushing. And maybe you're gonna continue your life, but memories at the end of the day are gonna come back, because bad memories are more likely to stay with you than good memories. Again, this person was not that close to me either. We were bench partners for a year. But maybe it's just my freaking fault for feeling close to these people. My great-grandmother died during COVID season, and it was very crushing. She didn't die of COVID. She passed away the most calming way possible. And to this day, I couldn't visit her gravestone because it's in such a remote place. I could not approach it at all, only if I have a car. And sadly, I cannot do that. And when my mom tells me that they managed to visit her during, the Day of the Dead, I feel a bit better. But at the end of the day, I feel bad because, I didn't meet her in a while, and then one day she's gone. Emotions are hard to explain, especially if you're trying to explain them to somebody who doesn't understand them. But again, maybe you're gonna understand it one day. And when you're gonna understand it one day, I hope you remember this conversation, because it's gonna be life-changing, I'm telling you. Especially because it came from a shitty VTuber on YouTube. Being robotic has adventures, but only to an extent. You have to feel something eventually. Yes, exactly. Because if you're gonna pull out that, oh, I'm not gonna feel anything if a human dies, bullshit, I'm gonna literally be like, okay, main character, can get out of your 8th grade syndrome and open your eyes a bit, Because, exactly. I get that to an extent, it's not gonna hurt you. But again, when you start thinking it through, it's going to hit you so badly, you're not gonna be able to, for a moment, you're not gonna be yourself. There are gonna be possible outcomes in your head. What if this person was here? Or what if this person didn't pass away the way they did? Because it also matters how they pass. If they pass in peaceful conditions, I guess that's the best thing that can happen to them. But sadly, that did not happen to my classmate. They did something that maybe they shouldn't have. Similarly to Emily, but in a more extreme extent. And when you learn that while you're so far away from your own home, it's just devastating. I do not wish this to anyone. I just wish people who are telling that they don't feel anything because they're so robotic would stop for a moment and think it through how other people would feel for a hot sec, you know? Because you might not feel like that, but some of us do. Some of us have different perceivings of that. I can tell you, I've been in life-threatening situation not once. I have an incurable disease. I ended up in ERs more than once. I literally ended up in the closed off section of the hospital for almost dying. And then they woke you up in the middle of the night because there's gonna be a patient delivered next to you who almost killed herself because of dumb reasons, because she had alcohol and meds together. You're gonna rethink life when you're strapped to the bed and cannot do anything. Just wait for the perfusion to end so you can call your family and like, how are you guys doing? Because then it will matter. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. I absolutely agree with you, Devious Hands, because there are some people who say that they absolutely don't feel anything. And how should I say this? It did happen to me on Instagram that somebody reached out to me because they want to write, but they cannot feel emotions. And I'm like, that's gonna be very fucking hard to do, you know, writing without having any kind of emotions. But if really that's the case, that you wanna really say that you don't have any sort of emotions at all, then you're gonna use the assets that you have, you know, then try to explore that feeling, the fact that you actually cannot feel something. And then, you know, like sometimes you should not cry about something that you don't have and try to explore what you have. I would like to thank all my villains for joining the soup kitchen. Without you guys, these videos could never happen. Thank you for supporting me, and let's see each other on to the next one.